You have, as he was talking about, different elements of corporate media, kind of throwing their support behind this whole idea of, what we're doing in Venezuela is right and blah, blah, blah. Again, hard to sell. But then you have, I forget this gentleman's name, but this is making the rounds all over social media.
The implications here.
Listen carefully.
Look at the implications here are really great for the Venezuelan people. 27 years if you package together Chavez and Maduro. Think about that.
That was great. Let's hear that non-Freudian slip.
Look at the implications here are really great for the Venezuelan people. 27 years if you package together Chavez and Maduro. Think about that. 27.
If you package together Chavez and Maduro, the Chavistas that were very popularly elected in a socialist country, if you pair them together over all those years, that's a lot of years where the United States hasn't been able to get our hands on their resources. That's a lot of years. How have we been able to survive this long without getting our hands on Venezuela's stuff?
That's a very good question. I don't believe for a second that was an accident. I believe that there are also people in the State Department that, it's kind of like 1984. It's even like The Dark Knight Rises. It's like these little signs, these little symbols that people will put out there to let you know that, yes, you really think that wasn't an intentional Freudian slip. I think it was very intentional. I
wasn't intentional, but that's what he was thinking. I don't think it was intentional. He wouldn't have said it he didn't want to say it, but obviously that's what he thinks.
So you think that was a slip of the tongue?
Yes.
I mean, it probably was, but
he's been in so many circles and so many rooms lately where they're talking about what's best for Israel, this is good for Israel, that it just came off his tongue like that because it is what's good for Israel.
Yeah.
Right. So I don't think that's why he was not wanting to say that. That was definitely him saying the quiet part out loud.
Well, he definitely stopped himself and made it very clear that he didn't want to go down that road. But all the signs say that this is an economic break in the system.
What's Kathy saying? Kathy Polino, Zio brain.
Zio brain. That's what you call it?
That's what we call it. I mean, that's all they care about. That's all they think about. So even though he wasn't necessarily addressing that right then, obviously that's his train of thought is what he cares about is what's good for Ziohel.
Yeah.
Everyone says I'm right, so I must be right.
Oh, Jen, you definitely sound like a Zio now. That's for sure. We're going to conclude this evening with an extended piece, which we're not going to stop too much, but it's going to crystallize because this, to me, I think was the best explanation of what actually went down and why this is such a detrimental situation for the average American citizen as much as it is for the Venezuelan citizen. And yes, Israel, of course, is directly linked as they always are.
Turn on the television today, you will see the same looping footage. You will see helicopters, you will see special forces, you will see the dramatic extraction of a Latin American leader. The media is calling it a victory for democracy. They are calling it a restoration of order. They are analyzing the tactical brilliance of the raid and the political fallout in Washington. But as always, they are showing you the circus so you do not look at the bank vault. What happened in Venezuela today was not a political operation. It was not about human rights. It was not even really about Nicolás Maduro. It was a margin call. To understand why the United States just took the extreme risk of launching a military operation in South America, you do not need to look at the polls or the Constitution. You need to look at a much more boring, much more terrifying chart. The United States
Peter, this is, I think, way too
reserve.
Slow and long.
For the last 3 years.
Is there a way that you run it at 1.5 or something?
Colin, can we run it at 1.5?
Is that something that can be run faster? So that's what somebody's asking in the chat.
Not within StreamYard that I'm aware of, no.
Okay. I don't know how long this is and what this is, but yeah.
Okay. We'll break through it piece by piece then.
The United States has been draining its emergency oil tanks to artificially lower the price of gas. They have been selling the family silver to pay the rent. The reserve is now at its lowest level since the 1980s. At the same time, the petrodollar, the system that forces the world to buy oil in US currency, is on life support. Saudi Arabia has refused to renew its exclusive agreement. The BRICS nations are trading energy in yuan and local currencies. The exorbitant privilege of the dollar is evaporating. And then, last week, rumors began to circulate in the financial capitals. Rumors that Venezuela, the country with the largest proven oil reserves on the planet, was about to sign a definitive agreement to price its oil exclusively in a basket of BRICS currencies.
Oh, there it is. They're wanting to work with BRICS.
We don't have to listen further. I can tackle this on another night. However, I thought that that was the most important point, and it was made right off the bat. I don't know this gentleman's name. He has a channel where he rarely puts it. He doesn't share his name for obvious reasons. But I do think that this is, again, the key point here. This is, and what becomes the overarching storyline within what he's discussing here, is that the United States, by conducting business the way that they just did in Venezuela, is sending a clear sign to every other nation in the world with any type of rich natural resources that we will do the same to you if you even think about getting out of line with us. It's that crystal clear as far as I'm concerned. And so what are other nations going to do? Yeah. What's the natural inclination here? The natural inclination is, as soon as we can get off of the petrodollar, we will.
They're all going to close ranks against us. If we don't think that this is going to affect our non-besties in South America, we're crazy. Because now every other country is looking at this like, oh, I guess the US just gets to literally go in full open acknowledgement and just arrest foreign leaders that were democratically elected and bring them back to our country and try them to according to our laws, which, by the way, as a young person back when we did this in Panama, I thought the same thing then. I remember when this happened in Panama with Noriega, and I remember thinking, we just went into a sovereign nation, kidnapped their leader, and are bringing him back to try him according to our laws. That's caucasity. That is caucasity right there.
I want to end on a funny note because, as I mentioned, James Lee is a friend of the show, and he's been doing amazing work at 5149. And for anybody here who still thinks Nick Shirley is above board and on the level, well, this is why we love James.
Greatest independent journalist Nick Shirley is claiming right now that World Cup style celebrations are erupting all across Venezuela at the moment. Congratulations to all the people of Venezuela. Que Dios te bendiga. Except, oh no, wait a minute. That video is from Miami, Florida. Other accounts like Wall Street.
Could we just for a second acknowledge the fact that Jen and I lived in one of the shittiest places on earth for far too long? That all of the bad shit is pretty much at the end, the tail end of the limp dick that is the United States, which is the state of Florida. I'm in the erect phallus side. I'm in the panhandle side, the side that goes straight across. But down there is where all the shit bags of the country seem to live. And so as a result, you get stories like this. And yes, there were a handful of celebrations scattered throughout South Florida. But how many people are we talking about, Jen? A few dozen?
And again, it's very class-based.
Extremely.
So yes, the wealthy white Venezuelans that have been able to move here. Let's remember that people that actually can relocate and move and be living well in South Florida, those are wealthy people by standards of, and when you're talking about people in Venezuela, those are the people that are the affluent people. And yes, they left because the new government actually thinks that poor people should be able to have part of the resources there too. So the white rich Venezuelans left because they didn't like, sort of like the white South Africans who left because they don't like that there's no more apartheid. So the Venezuelans that want that old system back, they want that oligarchy back. And they don't like that this new Chavista regime is sharing the spoils with all of the people in the country. They don't like that. So those are the people that are happy. But the rest of the people, the majority of people, they are Maduro supporters.
And not only that, but Jen, what very rabid constituency shares a very similar ideology to the Venezuelans in South Florida?
Yeah. Well, I mean, they're Zios.
Well, there
You're
are
talking about the Cubans?
the Cubans.
Well, the Cubans, yes, and this is case in point when we look at somebody like Marco Rubio, and what that is about, because a lot of this for him is connected to what this will inevitably have as an effect on Cuba, especially when you're interfering with them getting their oil from Venezuela.
Exactly.
Apes are posting that Venezuelans are, quote, crying on their knees, thanking Trump and America for freeing them from Nicolas Maduro. Except the video is just 100% entirely AI slop. This is happening across a bunch of massive accounts all across social media. So my question is, if Venezuelans were actually happy about their leader getting abducted, we probably wouldn't need to rely on AI slop videos to do propaganda, right?
That's the key point. They're not going to have real footage because the only people that are going to be celebrating are the wealthy elite class of people. And a lot of those people are in this country. So yes, it makes sense that you would see them in Miami or in West Venezuela or wherever they are, but not in Venezuela.
No.